Okay, we're getting ready to go live on YouTube, and we are ready to go. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is Dennis Wilborn. I want to welcome you to today's session of How to Make Money Trading Stocks, where it's a weekly live stream. I am the founder of Active Trend Trading. If this is the first time you're joining us on Facebook, please hit the little subscribe button down at the bottom and click the bell so you will get updated. The other things I post to Market Tech Talk is just some market trading tips. These are free tips that I provide on a regular basis. And so let's get going. Also, towards the end of the session, I will also provide a couple of links where you can find out how to get the Power Rank Elite Watchlist updated every week to your email. So let's get going. Disclaimer remains the same, though. Basically, that all materials are for training purposes. Traders should always paper trade any new method prior to the risk of their own personal capital. Past performance is not a promise of future performance. So get going here. So what's the objective? One, the objective of why I do this webcast every Friday is basically to provide traders with top-notch market analysis. I've invited Dr. Steve to join us occasionally. He's a really good IBD kind of trader, and he also follows, Wyckoff. So he does a really good job of choosing stocks. I invited him on board to actually provide some stocks to be for us to take a look at every week. So after the top-notch market analysis, I want to provide timely, actionable intel that clarifies, simplifies trading decisions so your wealth and profits can be multiplied. My objective, multiply your success so you can both minimize losses and maximize profits. So what is my analysis going into the weekend? Well, we have a downside catalyst that's working and providing us more downside. The coronavirus going on in China. We totally don't know the effect and impact of that. I know that they have closed down at least, last I heard, at least 5 cities. And you guys are going to have to tell me, have they shut down any more cities than 5? And please, if you have a response, please respond in the chat box. Why? Yeah, Mark, I don't know why the virus is named after a Mexican beer. I just, I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe we should Google that. I don't know. But anyway, the last I heard, it was 5 cities that were shut down. And I think part of China is kind of an open, closed society, and only the stuff that the government wants to get out actually gets out of the country, is from my perspective. So what else are we looking at? So we'll take a look at index stock performance, bonus stocks with Dr. Steve if he comes on board. And if not, I've got some picks for you to take a look at. So, let's get into the rest of today's session. As we sit, I'm very pleased with how we've started off the year. I'm typically a slow starter when it comes to trading at the beginning of the year. And so to have active trend trading already at 5%, we are basically very light. We don't have a lot of open positions. We have our stops in there pretty tight. As you can see, the Dow has gone negative for the year. S&P slightly positive for the year. NASDAQ still the strongest of the indexes, and the Russell, weakest entity. It's the weak link right now. You have to remember that with the Russell, oftentimes it's the Russell that is the lead index. It leads us up and it leads us down. Last year was while overall, Russell had a good return last year. It was about 20+%. However, it spent much of the year in a sideways pattern that was just, really challenging and hard to trade. So what do we want to be taking a look at? Well, one, we want to remember where we are in the year. With the NASDAQ, NASDAQ's tip tends to be in February kind of weak, or, not really in a big turn. So the first 3 months of the year, and this goes for almost every one of the indexes, we tend to go a little bit sideways. And then when people start getting their tax returns back and putting away money into their 401ks or their retirement accounts before mid-month in April, then all of a sudden fresh money comes into the market and oftentimes launches us onto a nice recovery through the rest of the year. Gold futures, gold may be working for us pretty good, and I'll probably take a look at gold as a bonus to everybody today, just so you can see what's going on with gold. We're in the first two, so we'll come back to that. Let's take a look at the charts. I've got a daily chart on the left, a daily chart on the right, and I have a weekly chart on the left. I've left in the Fibonacci's just for a second here to give us some idea of what type of, what's been going on. Okay, price action came down, dropped on a weekly base, on a daily basis, dropped below the 50, came back up, bounced off the 820 combo, and then sold off. IWM is our weakest link. It is making a new lower low. And so I've left in here these numbers here, the 1618 extension. So I would be looking for support somewhere around the 160 level. If it breaks through that, then we're probably going to get a complete retracement. This 200% retracement is a 200% retracement of this, from this low to high here. So in other words, that would be a symmetric move, but to the downside. Look what's lingering there, waiting for price actions to get down that low. There we go. Well, what's lingering there is the 200-day moving average, right there. And so somewhere between 156.52 down to about 156-ish, that's where you can put in an alert to say, to ring your bell to say, I need to be taking a look at IWM again. There is no reason to buy IWM or buy the Russell until it proves itself. I've been having several chats with other active trend trading members about what it means to, when I'm making a new low, it basically, I do not want to try to guess where to buy it because it can go lower and lower and lower. Ultimately, we could get down to this level here. I would like to get rid of that fib real quick. There we go. Let me get rid of those beautiful drawings. Let's take a look at if we drop from, what would a 10% drop in the IWM look like, or the Russell look like? Well, today's low actually took us down about 6%. Where's 10%? Probably up, it's just right about there. Isn't that interesting? That is exactly where one of the Fibonacci's is, about 153.41. It would not be surprised on a healthy pullback for price actions to get down to that level. If you utilize the Keltner channels, you can see on the weekly Keltner channel over to our left that level is just about the lower Keltner channel on a weekly chart. Those are oftentimes the places where price action will start to consolidate and then bounce higher. But it doesn't, just because that's where it should happen doesn't necessarily mean that's going to happen. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take that drawing away, is I'm just going to wait for this to basically show us that it's time to turn around. Right now, lower low. Now if I start hammering out a consolidation pattern somewhere between 160 down here to the 200-day moving average at 156-ish, if we start hammering something out over multiple days, that'll give me an idea that, okay, this could be ready to bounce up. What do we, the other thing I want to take, let you see is what's going on with the momentum. Momentum is still pointing down. Nothing has come into this, into the equation as far as the Russell goes to reverse the momentum. And in fact, it's going back down to the lower reversal zone where it spent a lot of time, some time last year. So down. We also have the market forecast. If you don't know about the market forecast, I'm going to be doing some really good, quick tutorials about market forecasts, about TSI. It'll be posted free on the YouTube channel, Market Tech Talk. As you can see, the longer term momentum is hitting a new low. What makes it this whole thing very suspect, though, is when you look over at the weekly chart, everything is turned over. And so where might it bounce? Well, we've got the 40-week moving average, which is right there, which is approximately, it's just slightly above the 200. And then, of course, the lower level here, there's support down here at the 152 level. That could take several weeks to get there. Or if you get a big sell-off like we have today, I'm going to get rid of this guy. Sorry for forgetting to turn my video off. If we get, a big sell-off like we're having today, that could be suspect and drive you down really quickly. Remember the old adage that typically markets go up about two-thirds slower than they fall down. That's just a rule of thumb. To be taken, that you can take a look at. So that's out for IWM. Now I'm going to reverse order this. The next weakest is the S&P, the spiders. Interesting, the spiders came up and hit this 1618 extension. That was based on the move on the weekly chart from the 294, 295 level down to this low it hit right before Christmas or right after Christmas of last year of 2018, and then it pumped on up, and that extension is where it ran out of gas. Now we're reversing down to the downside. What I'll be looking at with the S&P, any type of a move back up into these moving averages, the 820 moving average, might give you an opportunity to get into a short position on the S&P. Excuse me. What would I be looking to trade in that case? Well, I'd be looking to trade either options on the SPYs, or I could drop over to the SPXU, and this is the leverage ETF. That is the inverse leverage ETF for the S&P. As you can see, it has bottomed, it has broken its trend, and so target-wise, let's just open this up a little bit. Target-wise, maybe on this to go all the way up to, $25 or even, $26. And so I wouldn't buy it today, just simply because, hey, we're getting that reaction down to the downside. But keep that in your arsenal of something to be looking at. So the least weak or the strongest of the entities I'm taking a look at is, of course, the NASDAQ, as represented by the Qs. We've come down to a level of support here. It bounced back up. Now, whenever it bounces back up, this is basically still a failure type pattern. We dropped. And then what happened? After a significant uptrend, we dropped. We rebounded. Now, if the trend or the momentum was strong enough, it would have taken us past those past highs. However, it reversed just short of them, and now it appears as if we may drop to lower levels. a close below the, in this case, the 20-day moving average would increase the probability that we're going to revisit down here at the 50. And as you see, whenever I look at this, okay, as this is a level of potential support at the 50, I want to take that and look to my left. Look to my left to see what I see. You know, and as you do that, what we see in this particular case is an area of congestion that it broke out of before. So this is where buyers came in strongly to push the price up. And so that's where we could anticipate, yeah, that's where we could potentially get a good bounce. Again, how far, you know, of a drop is that? Well, it's not that far. I mean, basically, if we just, oops, let's grab. There we go. Kind of. One more. If anybody has anything in Thinkorswim, knows the tech guys, give them a shout out and tell them it'd be really nice if it had a backspace or a repeat thing that would take you right back to the past chart that you had. Let's take a look here. We basically, from here to here, okay, we're about 3%. If we get down to the 50, we're about 5.5%. Where's 10% on this one? Well, 10% is approaching the 205 level. And as you see, look to the left, what do you see? Look to the left, what do you see? Well, at the 205 level was a past level of resistance that with reverse polarity now becomes a pretty strong level of support. So that's where, as you can see, all these little diamonds over here on the triangles on the left-hand side, those are my defined support areas, where if prices get down to there, sends me an email and says, hey, Dennis, go take a look at this. Do we have a potential trade, you know, or something setting up for a potential turnaround? So that's what I've got with the indexes. Let's take a real quick look at a couple of stocks that I am continuing to follow. Team. When we have the market selling off the way it is and showing some weakness, it's always a great idea to go and look for areas of strength. Team is an excellent area of strength. Look at, you know, it's way above its moving averages here on a daily chart. It's having a hard time pushing through this big, huge cup, but we may get a pullback into where? If I get a pullback to 140 level, that may be an excellent place to take a trade on this. We do have some negatives on this chart to be aware of, though. We have one negative divergence on the TSI momentum indicator, and everything else looks pretty good. And the weeklies have not turned over yet, but that is the, you know, if this was a battle zone, that would be the front line. And so for the troops of team to break through and close above that, then they can advance. And once they break out above that, I think it's all clear sky. So if they could take that and take the 150 level, close above it, stay above it, we're probably looking at $200 before the end of the year or in fairly short order. So that's up with team. I'm going to throw in, I'm also still continuing to keep my eye on INMD. INMD is looking kind of interesting. Again, it is making a new low at the 50-day moving average. Let's see, you know, I wouldn't necessarily jump right in on this. Now, of course, some of the folks who do get the top 5 list that you know originates from the Power Ranked Elite list each week, know that we did have an order down in this area to do a buy, and we did get into a small position going up the other side. If then that's one of the things you're interested in is getting just some good stock orders, you can join us for the the top 5. It's a entry level for active trend trader. But right now, I do not have to take a trade in this. It is working in a little flag channel back to the end. So when might I want to get back into it? Well, if I retest back here at the 50, get the TSI turning back up, or if I have a 2-line cluster here on the market forecast, that's when I'd look at potentially getting into this trade again. If I take out the high of today and it closes above the 8, that would be a new trigger for us also to be worth looking at INMD. So that's the 2 stocks I've got for this week. Let me go back over here and we'll close things out. Hey, if you do need a speaker for your group, I'd love to present either in person if it's here in Hawaii or via webinar. We do have our monthly BAM meeting tomorrow at it's at 9 o'clock in the morning California time. Monthly Honolulu meetup on February 11th. Tomorrow's session with the BAM meetup is going to be absolutely phenomenal. I'm going to be talking specifically about utilizing moving averages to improve your trading, providing better triggers, how to get in, how to use them for support, how to use them for resistance, and it's going to be a dynamite session. If you would like to get in on that, I will basically just, here is the link. You go here. The charge for this is $15. But you do then get a recording that you can have the recording as long as you're not. The value of these presentations, it's an hour to an hour and a half presentation. The meeting's 2 hours. Is well in excess of $200. We charge like $15 to get into the meeting, and that's something we refresh on a monthly basis. That's about all we have. Again, check out the YouTube channel, Market Tech Talk, and recommend it to your friends. I'd really appreciate it. So until next week, 2020 is working out really well if you are profitable. So far in 2020, do not be apprehensive about tightening up your stops. And the old adage is don't let your profits turn into a loss. And I mean that sincerely. So nothing wrong with, yeah, you're not going to make the 10%, but you're making the 5%. So, tighten it up. Keep, just follow your rules, follow your plan. And so if you are a premium member, stand by. We'll be with you back at the top of the hour for the final hour, where we'll talk about specific trades that we may have going on, or that we may want to set up going into the end of the week. And so from my home to yours, aloha, trade well, and prosper. Have a great weekend. And if you've hung around this long, check out the section here. It will basically just click on the icon that comes up there, and you can get your free list of the Power Rank Elite Watch List sent to you every week. So aloha, God bless everybody.